Hello and welcome to another episode of Three On Lights Out, your favorite baseball show. Yay!
Yay!
Yay! So we are here returning Sans Mongo. He is busy, um, but we are here to recap the World Series, end of the season thoughts, and any interesting predictions we had. So for those of you who do not know, it was the Dodgers versus the Yankees in the World Series. Two major teams. MLB must have loved this in terms of expected revenue, right? Like huge. This is huge. You have two major markets, one on the East Coast, one on the West Coast. This is exactly what baseball wanted in terms of matchups. You have two heavyweight organizations, too. The Yankees haven't won a World Series since 2009. The Dodgers have been one of the better teams in the past decade. And they just win a few years ago, too?
Yeah, 2020 they won the
There you go.
pandemic year.
So it was a big expectations for this World Series that kind of ended up being a little bit of a letdown. The Yankees did not show up really for the first three games of the series. Lit up the Dodgers in Game 4, and then it was a close Game 5, but ultimately the Yankees fell to a gentleman's sweep, which is very disappointing, especially when the expectations were so high, and we were all of us, even in Mongo, we were all expected the Yankees to win. I don't think any of us expected to be 5 games, but boy, if you told me the series ended in 5, I would not have said it was the Dodgers. The Yankees offense has struggled this whole postseason. Judge has notoriously not been a playoff guy. There's that's going to plague him and his legacy. Obviously, he's still a Hall of Famer. I mean, as long as he can stay healthy and play, more, keep at what he's playing at least for another like 2, 3, 4 years at just this level, and then just continue to play longer. But he should make the Hall of Fame. But this is like similar to like we were talking about with Mike Trout, like playoff. Not just making it to the playoffs, but also how you perform in the playoffs does affect your legacy. Regular season wise, both those guys, Mike Trout and Aaron Judge, phenomenal players. And I don't necessarily think Mike Trout doesn't perform in the playoffs. It's just his team has never been successful. But I don't actually know Mike Trout's stats because I don't know how many playoff games he's been in. And I'm too lazy to look it up. But all in all, poor performance in the World Series by the Yankees. Glad that they at least showed up in the last 2 games to make it competitive and it wasn't just a total embarrassment. But John, what are your thoughts on the World Series as a whole? Do you think that the Yankees just were not gonna? Are you totally surprised by how bad the Yankees played the first 3 games? And what's your expectations? Final expectations from this season?
So with the World Series in general, Game 1 should have been a win. Let's just recap that game real quick. Garrett Cole goes 6 innings, 1 or no earned runs, gets pulled. Aaron Boone pulls all the good triggers into that game, goes into extras, puts Nestor Cortez in over Tim Hill, who has a very, very good ground ball rate. And first pitch to Freddie Freeman gives up a grand slam to lose the game. Next game, Carlos Rodon struggles a little bit. Happens. He was still a good outing altogether. Just struggled. Game 3, when Clark Schmidt was pitching, he's been solid all playoffs. You get 2, 3 earned runs in 6 innings from him normally. I feel like they pulled him a tad bit early. He was looking great, and then obviously we ended up losing that. Game 4, Luis Gil on the mound looked incredible on the mound. He stood his ground. He did everything. He gave up that one home run. I think it was to Will Smith, and it was an opposite field home run. It happens to everybody. Oh no, it was a home run to Freddie Freeman. Sorry, Freddie Freeman home run in the first inning.
I mean, it's hard not to with him.
Yeah. The Yankees ended up coming back to win that game late by a Juan Soto, a Jazz Chisholm, and I think it was a double by Anthony Volpe to come back and win that game. Game 5, Garrett Cole was on the mound again, 6 innings and 2/3, 5 unearned runs, and then eventually they gave him 1 earned run. And then the 5th inning happened, and Judge drops a pop out to center field. Not Glaber. Anthony Volpe misthrows to third base. And then the notorious Anthony Rizzo and Garrett Cole not covering first base happens, and then boom, everything unravels for them. Garrett Cole looked amazing. He pitched 12 innings, 12 and 2/3 innings, and 1 earned run. That's what you want from your ace, and the Yankees went 0-2. Aaron Judge actually showed up in Game 5, giving up a home run in the first inning. Getting a double in the 7th. Nothing happened after that. Overall, the World Series was fun to watch. The Dodgers pitching staff actually showed up. Jack Flaherty looked good. Yoshinobu, being the highest paid pitcher in the league this year, actually showed up and pitched really well. And the Dodgers bullpen game actually looked kind of okay. What I got to say, a lot of players made money this offseason. Gleyber Torres, with the way he played in this playoff, got him a lot of money. Walker Buehler, the pitcher, made a lot of money. Jack Flaherty also made a lot of money. Juan Soto was getting the money no matter how he played in this playoffs, with the way he played and the age that he is. Blake Trinan, the bullpen pitchers. Clay Holmes as well. He's going to get a couple bucks. It showed. The players who needed to show up showed up. The Yankees shut down Shohei Ohtani. He only had 2 hits in that entire World Series. I think Mookie Betts had 3. It was just the Freddie Freeman show, and that was just a rough point of them. And then the Yankee side, you can't really be shocked by it. Aaron Judge just didn't show up at all during the playoffs, and he hasn't in the past. I'm glad Glaber actually showed up, get him paid. To whatever team wants to give him money, they should. Anthony Volpe looking really good this playoffs after a rough end to the regular season. I'm proud that he did well, showing flashes for next year. And that's really it. Yeah, that's all I got for the World Series.
Yeah, I mean, all in all, we are disappointed, right? Like, it's disappointing. You want your team to win. We are not shy about the fact that we are Yankee fans here at 3 on Lights Out. Shohei, he did get hurt, and was, so like that, is part of his performance. Yankees have a lot to look forward to. They have a lot of decisions this upcoming offseason. Luckily, they had one that came up pretty early and got resolved, was the Garrett Cole contract. He opted out. The Yankees then gave him that clause. There's a clause in there the Yankees could give him 4 years, whatever.
It would have been, so Garrett Cole could opt out. They said he was going to opt out. All they had to do was extend an extra year to that 4-year end of the thing at a 5th year for 36.
Yeah.
To make it.
And they ended up doing that, which is good for them. They keep their ace.
They actually didn't do that.
Oh, they didn't. Okay. So they just gave him.
Restructured it. They just
got it.
So basically, what I heard was Brian Cashman and Hal Steinbrenner told Garrett Cole, go test the free agency market if you want to. And Scott Boras and Garrett Cole both came back and said, no, we just want to be a Yankee, basically, and they restructured it.
Which I'm not totally surprised. He seemed to want to be a Yankee when the Yankees went out and got him. He's clearly the ace of the team. They've been treating him like that. He's been welcomed with open arms. Yeah. And he has a chance to cement himself amongst the greats of Yankee pitchers. And it would be foolish for him to leave while he still has that. And especially seeing the Yankees still have a championship window. As we saw, the Astros are not really competitive. The Orioles don't seem to know how to put it together in the playoffs. And really, the Yankees underperformed in the playoffs, but still were able to just beat all their opponents like it was nothing. Yep. So, like, as a Yankee fan, this is great moving forward. You just hope that momentum builds, even if Aaron Judge continues to be an unsuccessful playoff performer. You have other pieces who show that they can play in the playoffs, which is great.
Like Giancarlo Stanton becoming
for whatever reason he decided he's going to show up in the playoffs. But hey, you know what? Whatever. It's like I was saying, it's like in 2009 with Hideki Matsui. I mean, Matsui was not having a great year overall, but he turned it on in the playoffs when it mattered. And if the Yankees won, I would not have been surprised if the MVP was Stanton. So all in all, great for the Yankees moving forward. It is a disappointing end, but you have to at this point, it's over. So you got to take what positives you can and use that to propel you into the upcoming season. They have a couple of key free agent signings that they need to, or re-signings that they need to make, and some, other pieces here and there that they need to do. The Yankees need to not be cheap. They need to actually spend and bring back Soto. He wants to be a Yankee, so it would be weird to not keep him. Are you going to have to pay him like $500 million? Probably. But, I mean, this is it. It's obviously that's a lot of money. I'm not crazy, but in the grand scheme of things for the Yankees organization as a whole, they'll easily be able to make more than that by retaining him. He is 25, turning 26 next
26.
year, or something like that?
No, he's 26 now. He turns 27 next year.
Still, he has at least another decade of playing. So why wouldn't you just you gave Aaron Judge a ridiculous contract when he was almost 30.
All he wanted was an extra year too, and they said, "Here you go. All you gotta do is call it once. What do you want? You want 14, 630, whatever that. I think that's 42 or something like that. AAV. I don't know the number off the top of my head, but if he wants 42, take it. Why not? I feel like Juan Soto wants to see his age hit 40 by the time that contract's done. I don't see him taking 6 years or whatever. It's going to be 10 plus no matter what, and you're going to see 5 plus behind it.
The Yankees need to sign him. He is a good cornerstone, and if you can get him for the 10 to 14 years, you don't have to worry as much if you start to see a decline in and you're going to see a decline in Judge just because he is 32, 33.
And he's playing center field too, so
right.
It's going to take a lot. And
eventually he's going to start declining, and instead of not having someone ready to be the new face of the franchise, you have a guy.
Yeah.
Get him there.
I argue he is technically the face already if you really want to put at it. The Bronx in general has a big Hispanic showing there, and it showed all year. You hear him in the playoffs. We re-signed Soto. You heard it after the ALCS on live TV. The other fans were even chanting, re-sign Soto.
Yeah, just give him that blank check. Give him that blank. The Yankees can, if any organization in sports can afford it, it's the New York Yankees.
Yes. And my favorite video was in the stands, there's a guy standing out there with a giant check. writing Juan
Oh
Soto
yeah,
and
I
then a
saw that.
number, and he kept crossing out the first number and just raising the number the whole time.
No, that was crazy and awesome. I
Yeah.
I do think ultimately the Yankees are able to retain him. I think the only scare will be the Mets.
No, it is the
Um,
Mets. It's nobody else. I don't see Toronto.
right.
I don't like this Dodgers are gonna go get him. That's like the most
The Dodgers
BS
have their
stuff.
own. They got their own money they got to spend. They
Yeah.
got to because isn't Teoscar Hernandez a free agent?
Yeah, Teo, Jack Flaherty. There's a
Yeah,
lot of free agents on that team that need
and
it.
that team is
Walker Bueller.
yeah, that team's too good for them to be like focusing on Soto. They need to focus on their own talent
And most of
and
their team is young. Like Mookie Betts is only
yeah,
31, so like you don't really need another outfielder there.
right.
So like Teo was a great addition to that offense for a 1 year and 33 home runs and 100 RBIs. He's gonna get a payday, and I
Yeah.
loved him. I
Oh yeah.
wanted him to be a Yankee, but it's okay. We got someone else.
Oh yeah, and there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with it. You can't. The Yankees can't have everybody. As
Yeah,
much as we would love for them to have everybody, they can't have everybody.
yeah.
All right. Any so any team you see that should take that has a that took you a bit by surprise, that you could see continuing this momentum, like the Mets. They performed well in the second half. They played very well in the playoffs until they met the Dodgers, which ultimately now we can say now that the Dodgers embarrassed the Yankees, that just tells you how good this Dodger team really was.
Yep.
That they were able to quiet an extremely hot Mets team that handled all of its opponents as though they were nothing.
Yes, there's actually two teams, and they're both in the AL, which is not good for the Yankees. Both Guardians and the Royals. This free agent, the Guardians don't ever spend money, so I'm not going to expect them to go throw a bag at a player. Right? That's just beside. So let me just take them out. I want to talk about the Royals in general. Bobby Witt Jr. had arguably the best shortstop season of all time behind one of the Derek Jeter years I'm not coming to mind on. There's some free agents out there that could really help this team, and I'm really hoping they go after like an Anthony Santander who just hit 44 home runs for the Baltimore Orioles, or they go throw a bag at Teoscar Hernandez as well. He just had a great season as well. They're young, they're good. Salvi's not getting any younger, and he's never going to leave the Royals. You're never going to see him not leave the Royals. That's their captain. That's their not cornerstone, but was cornerstone back in the day. I feel like they're shifting to a way that Royals baseball is back in Kansas City. You got them playing right next to the Chiefs, which is kind of wild when I first ever saw that the stadiums are right next to each other. But adding
I
that,
mean, that's how Baltimore is too. I don't know if you've ever been to Camden
oh
Yards.
really?
Yeah,
Oh
yeah,
no, I've
they're
never
across the
been.
street from each other. It's you
Oh
really need
wow.
to. We got to go. We got to go together, man. It's first off, again, I cannot stress this enough. Camden Yards, my favorite stadium. I
Yeah, I've
hate
never
Yankee
been.
Stadium. It's too big. It's too
Yeah,
big.
yeah,
You can be too big, and Yankee Stadium is too big. It takes away
yeah,
from the game. Like the nose, why are you even at the game at that point? You're in the nosebleeds. Just go home and watch it. You're not
yeah.
getting a good enough view. I've been in good seats, and I've been in lesser good seats at Camden Yards.
Camden.
It's wonderful. M&T Bank Stadium. For those of you who don't know, I'm a big Ravens fan. Wonderful stadium. Just a little when the wind blows, you do feel it. That's my only complaint about M&T Bank Stadium. But in general, any one of you listening, if you live in the Northeast and you have a chance to go to Baltimore to go catch a baseball game, first off, there's a hotel. I forget what hotel it is that's right there. Right, you can walk to the
Yeah,
stadium, both either stadium, because again they're across the street from each other. There's some nice local bars that are right there. this is actually a relatively safe part of Baltimore, because I do know people have a conception about Baltimore that it's not the greatest, safest city. It's and I don't know, I don't have the stats on it, but I can tell you I've been comfortable and I've not felt uncomfortable in that area. Again, I've seen the Ravens and I've seen the Orioles. I do recommend going out there if you're a baseball fan or football fan or both. Maybe make it a weekend.
Yeah.
So Baltimore, come sponsor us, the city of Baltimore.
That would be interesting. Yankees fans take over Baltimore. Yeah, I mean, might not happen, but yeah, but
sorry for my tangent about Baltimore. But yeah, so what do you think about Baltimore, the team? Do you think that what do they need to do? Because they have the talent.
So what they need to do here? Okay, so you saw how they played all year this year. Gunnar Henderson had a great season. Adley struggled, but is arguably the best catcher in the league. You could toss him up between a few players. Jackson Holiday struggled when he was called up, got sent back down, called back up, struggled again. You got to fix that pitching staff. Like that pitching staff was
That's been their weakness for a while.
Yeah, it was horrible. They got Corbin Burns. Corbin Burns is a Cy Young candidate, but it seems like he's just going to walk because they're not going to give him the money that he
That's
deserves.
Just that organization. They don't like to pay people, and that's my concern is that they don't pay people. And look what happened with Manny Machado, who's still a very productive player.
Very good.
Yeah, I mean, imagine him on this team, right? Like,
imagine a lot of
he would be a great vet for this young team. And I think that they need to get that as well. Someone who can come in and be a good veteran player who has playoff experience and can help this team when they are struggling in the playoffs. Their bats just were quiet this postseason.
There's a player in mind I already have, and I brought him up a lot so far. Teoscar Hernandez is the perfect player.
But they're not going to pay him.
They're not going to give him the money, obviously. But he's the perfect bat. Power hitter. Yes, he strikes out a lot, but who cares? You got Adley, you got Gunnar, you got Jordan Westburg. Even bringing back Tony Taters, Anthony Santander would be the best thing. It just sucks that some franchises like the Baltimore Orioles, like the Rays, like the Guardians, the Athletics, they just don't choose to spend money when they have a nice city. Their ballparks are good. Well, minus the A's and the Rays. Their ballparks are not great. The Rays don't even have a ballpark.
The Rays, I'm assuming, are going to be getting a new one after the hurricane destroyed them.
Oh, for sure. There's just teams there that don't spend money that I feel like if they did, they would be World Series contenders every year, but they just don't choose to be.
Well, look back at the Rays from the mid 2000s, right? That was their big thing, was they didn't really spend a lot. They had David Price, they had Evan Longoria, they had a couple of good pieces, but they needed a few more to help get them over the hump. They went to the 2009 World Series, 2007 World Series.
Yeah, 2007. That 2009 was Yankees Phillies.
2007 World Series, which I against the Phillies.
Yep.
And there was I'm pretty sure they got swept.
Yeah, they did.
And it was you're like, it was disappointing, but it's like you finally saw that Rays team finally get over the hump, because that was always a big thing. Was they got at that point they relatively recently around there, they got the new owners who were actually trying to make this a good team, and then no one saw that they weren't going to still spend on players. But the thing is, they are competitive. Even they somehow they've been able to figure out their minor league system, and they seem to always get the most out of young players.
My thing about the Rays, you saw it recently as well. 2020, they faced the Dodgers actually, and you saw them, and then they immediately traded away some of their players. like they did last offseason with Tyler Glasnow, their best pitcher. They traded him away. They did it with Isaac Paredes this MLB deadline. They traded him to the Cubs.
Well, I mean, look at David Price all those years ago. They had him and they let him.
Yeah, they don't pay the players, and now they have a lot of young pitchers that you are probably going to see on the market, like Shane McClanahan. Taj Bradley should be that staple of that pitching staff. I don't care. He was too good in the fantasy league that Mongo let me join with him and his buddies. I tried to get him from Mongo, and knowing me and me being a big brain trying to work out like a trade because some people don't really pay attention, but Mongo does, obviously. It didn't work out too well, and I ended up going for someone a little less, but who could be valuable on a different team. I just want the Rays to spend money. They called in for Juan Soto, but I don't feel like they're going to give him the. Juan Soto's not even going to give him the light and day of like, hey, what are you going to offer me? Let me take this. Like,
Right. I mean, what are they going to give him, a 4-year, $100 million contract?
Yeah,
like he's not going to take that.
Yeah. And then back to like the A's, them saying they don't want to trade Brent Rooker or Mason Miller while they're under control. Like, you could easily trade either one of those and get all your pitching staffs back into order and then go into your minor league depth. Like, Jacob Wilson this year looked great at shortstop. Like, they have players. And there's a few teams I want to talk about who should just blow their team up recently. The Brewers, man. What are you guys doing? The Brewers. You guys again did it to your pitching staff. Devin Williams had a 10-year, $10 million contract. And you guys say, no, we're opting out of that, and you're going to make $7 million this year. What's the $3 extra million going to hurt to you? You're an organization. Just blow it up. Willie Adames isn't coming back. William Contreras is not the guy you should be relying on for your offense. He's a catcher. Jake Bauers is Jake Bauers. He's just not great offensively. You got a lot of young players, and you guys should just rebuild now. Like that's just unacceptable if you're not going to give arguably one of the top 5 closers in the league the money that they deserve. And the Cardinals. What do I start with these guys?
I mean, the Cardinals have needed to rebuild for a while, and they've just been not want. They've been since Albert Pujols left, they really needed to rebuild, and they keep pushing it off and off and off.
Looking at the Cardinals, right? You traded for Paul Goldschmidt and Nolan Arenado. Paul Goldschmidt's 40 years old by the end of his contract, and he's not on that team anymore. You saw that. Nolan Arenado is a shell of himself from a few years ago. He's not the same player. He's still good defensively, but he's not really great with the bat.
Is he still on the roster?
Yeah, third base.
Oh, there he is.
Yeah. You're relying on Lars Nootbaar to play your outfield, and he has a lot of injury concerns. And their big signing a few years ago, Wilson Contreras, is no longer your catcher. And you just signed him to be your catcher. Now he's playing first base. You're letting a guy who hasn't played first base in his career be a first baseman for you guys. Like, Mason Wynn is good and all, but I don't see him being your cornerstone. You guys need to figure it out a little bit. Like, I like the Sonny Gray signing. He's a good player when he's healthy. Mason Wynn, good young shortstop defensively. He has his ups and downs with offense. And you guys single-handedly wasted Jordan Walker's rookie year. You kept bringing him up and bringing him down all year, and it kind of hurt his mental a little bit. And Lars Nootbaar is not your center fielder. There's too much for me to talk about with the Cardinals, and I got them going after a few free agents when we get to that. But like eventually they need to get back onto the Cardinals way like they were back in the day.
Yeah, I mean, they definitely do. I don't know. I'm not sure if they're going to. I think that they're going to just try to continue to push. And I mean, they'll spend, but I don't know if they're going to spend wisely.
Yeah, they had a 40-year-old Lance Lynn be a starting pitcher for them this year. Or however old Lance Lynn is. It feels like he's been in the league since I was born. And
It might have been
2003. And if he's been in the league since then, and that's the guy you had to rely on all year,
he's not even.
not looking
I'm
good.
looking. I mean, I'm
He's
looking
probably
on
a free
Yahoo,
agent now. Yeah.
and I can't. I'm on Yahoo, and I'm like, I don't see him on here, so I can't even confirm his age for you.
Yeah, and then you had Jordan Lyles as one of your other pitchers. Like they have one of the best closers in the league.
Sonny Gray's not young. He's 35, right? Like,
yeah, but he's been good, and I feel like pitchers like that. Yeah, no, I know what you're talking about. But like star pitchers like that, you could see them like pitching into their late years. Obviously, he's not like that ace like Garrett Cole, Zach Wheeler are, where they're gonna pitch 30 starts and they're gonna have like a mid 2 to 3 ERA every single time. It just sucked. Sonny Gray would be one of the best pitchers in the league if he was on the Yankees. Let me just say that. But no, they wanted him to use a slider 25% of the time.
yeah, that was weird. That was a bad experiment, and I feel bad that
I feel
the
bad
Yankees
for
had.
Sonny Gray. Yeah,
That was just weird. I don't know why they did that to him.
Yeah, and then he immediately left. I think he went to the Reds, or did he go to the Twins? He went to one of those teams right after, and was really
Cincinnati.
good with. Yeah, he was really good with those teams afterwards, and I mean, look at him now. He's one of the better pitchers in the league. He's happy. I mean, the Yankees obviously ended up getting Garrett Cole and Carlos Rodon, who had a bounce back.
But I mean,
year,
imagine having him on the staff if he was still, because there's no reason that they wouldn't be able to have that both, right?
Oh yeah, like I would have.
Oh, actually, happy birthday, Sonny Gray. His birthday was yesterday.
Oh wow, happy birthday, Sonny! Yeah.
His birthday is the same as my father's.
Yeah, Sonny Gray. Like he would be a very 2, maybe a 3 guy on this Yankees team, judging on how Aaron. Oh, speaking of the Yankees, they brought back Aaron Boone. What are we doing?
Yeah.
I mean, we all knew it was going to happen after what they just did. But come on, like Joe Girardi's sitting in that booth upset right now. Come on, he's been sitting there all year. No,
well, they were not going to. They were never bringing back Girardi.
They could have because mindset, but like, who would be if you were to pick for the new manager right now? Like, knowing how the Yankees work, who would be the guy you want them to bring into management?
Honestly, I'm a big fan of, and I'm still surprised it hasn't happened yet to this day. They got to bring Donnie Baseball in.
That's what I just had this talk with my friend yesterday, and he was on the train of, let me just bring Jorge Posada in. I'm like, no, Donnie Baseball would be the best.
You got to bring him in. Let Donnie Baseball win the championship with the Yankees so he can finally get in the Hall of Fame.
Also, let him coach the living crap out of Aaron Judge. Let him teach.
Come on, Donnie. Have Donnie Baseball, bring him in as the GM. Have Cashman move to some other position. I don't really care.
Yeah, let him at least still be on the Yankees thing, not in the GM.
Make the Yankees again.
Yes, to spend all the money possible. Let's just be the evil empire again, please.
And Donnie Baseball was a good manager, so it's very weird that they haven't even. And maybe they have, and he just has zero interest in managing the organization. But I can't see him not wanting to come back full circle. Like, I understand why the Yankees didn't want him initially, because he was so young when he first got into managing. They didn't want it, and they were just coming off of Joe Torre. I totally understand not wanting to bring him in. But now he's managed the Marlins, and he managed the Dodgers, and he did both.
Yeah, and he's on the Toronto's. He's the hitting coach for the Toronto right now.
And he's been very successful in those roles. it's weird that the Yankees wouldn't try, especially seeing Boone is just a very good yes man, and that's
He
why he
also,
keeps
yeah,
his job because he's not particularly he's not known as a great mind. And honestly, if Aaron Judge didn't save his job the last offseason by vouching for him, the Yankees would have a new manager. But also on top
what
of
I
that,
love,
if Aaron Judge just didn't save this man's career by being the only reason the Yankees were viable for the past half
past 3
decade.
years, yeah.
Yeah, it's just
Yeah, Aaron Judge is single-handedly keeping Aaron Boone a career in managing for the Yankees right now, which is astonishing, honestly. But
yeah.
there's a thing that I recently saw with the Yankees. Andy Pettitte has been in that uh, with the organization for the past 4 or 5 months, being a pitching coach, basically. Not like obviously Matt Blake is Matt Blake, and he's gonna do his magic like what he did with Luke Weaver, what he did with Clay Holmes, and all that. But you see Andy Pettitte working with these young pitchers. He worked with Clark Schmidt this offseason, or last offseason. We're going to talk like that. And then Clark Schmidt came out and had like a 2.1 ERA through the first like 7 starts, and then his elbow gave out a little bit or whatever it was.
That happens.
Young pitchers, it happens. And then you saw Luis Gill come off or start off with this incredible start. He had like a 1.6 ERA, and then he had his blow ups, of course, and then he settled back in. And that's when like Andy Pettitte came in and said, "Hey, you could relax, use that slider more," because Gil throws a 93-mile-per-hour changeup, which is basically a fastball when you leave it dead center. And then he's worked with Carlos Rodon, lefties helping lefties there. Carlos Rodon's slider, he used his curveball a lot more. His changeup was a pitch he used. And that's why he signed with the Yankees, because he said that they said that I could use whatever pitches I want. And he's thrown a cutter, changeup, and curveball this year. And they all work. And then I really don't like this guy, but bringing up Nestor Cortez. It's Nestor. He's not going to be in the rotation next year. I have them signing a few players this offseason. It might be Yankees bias. Might be I want Yankees to sign players, but we'll leave that to next time.
Yeah, we'll save that for next episode. Let's end with this. Do you see the Yankees making the World Series? Or do you give the Yankees a good shot at making the World Series again? Or do you think keeping Boone really is just going to end up being detrimental to them? Because other teams are going to just catch up next year.
Are we doing this question as if they make the offseason moves, like they bring back Juan Soto type of, or you like right now they bring back Aaron Boone and Juan Soto isn't on this team type of?
No, Juan Soto's on. No other free agents, but anyone currently
Just
on the
bringing back
roster.
just bringing back Juan Soto. Yeah, I see them coming back. Yeah, because I don't see the Guardians making any moves. I don't see the Royals might make one or two because of the Royals. You don't see Baltimore going out there to spend on a big fish. They might just sign Tommy Pham and trade him at the deadline for prospects, like that always happens. The Tigers are the Tigers. They'll do whatever. They'll trade their pitcher for another pitcher, and that's going to go down as history for them. There's some teams that could probably beat them, but right now it's the Yankees and everybody trailing behind. Like, it's so yes, I would go with yes. They should be a World Series, and Marabou might not be the death to them.
And obviously, I'm going to ask this anyway, but I know the answer. Dodgers, they're still going to be contenders next year.
This is how I look at it. The Padres sadly didn't have the outcome they wanted. I feel like the Padres are the biggest rival to the Dodgers. You saw it in the NLCS. It went to 5 games. It went to 5, and you saw obviously the Phillies struggle, but the Phillies are still World Series contenders if you really want to look into hindsight. They just need that closer. The Mets are the Mets. They either make it, they don't. Mets fans are still happy no matter what. They made it to the playoffs. But that's really the Diamondbacks. But same thing in division, three division teams being the same is not really going to happen often. Other than that, like I don't see anybody in the Central beating the Dodgers or anybody else outside of that. So you just really look at the three teams like the Phillies, maybe the Mets when they're on, and then the Padres. So that's really it.
All right, fair enough. Well, thank you all so much for watching. Remember, like, share, subscribe, comment down below. What are your thoughts on the World Series and this 2024 MLB season as a whole? Thank you again so much. We'll catch you guys in maybe about a month or so where we're going to do some free agent predictions. Take care.